Hey guys, it's Abby from Abby of Pellinor, and today we're going to be looking at some cover changes again. This time it's not going to be UK versus US, makes a change. Instead it is going to be the original cover, or one of the original covers, versus the movie tie-in. Or the TV tie-in. Shut up, you know what I mean. So I'm going to be having the original cover on this side and the screen adaptation cover on this side. Some of these, of course, did already have multiple different covers for the original book. I've just went with the one that I have seen to be most prevalent, or the one that seems to be the original, whichever one of the two. So let's get into them. First up, we've got The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, and the edition I own is actually that one because I got it from a charity shop. I just decided this is a genre I like, it's a well-known book, I really need to pick this up, and so when I saw it I grabbed it. I do think that for a movie cover, this is, well, movie, it's TV, but for a screen cover this has been done quite well. So although it is a real person, they have completely blocked them out in one colour with the white transparent sections for the title, so I do think that for a screen cover this has been done really nicely, versus a standard cover of The Handmaid's Tale. Of course this is a classic, so there are hundreds of covers out there, some of them more beautiful than others, but this seems to be kind of like a standard version of the cover. It is from a few years ago, I think the 90s maybe, so I'm not so keen on the art style, but I will say that I like the theme that it's showing, that it is showing these women walking around. I assume they're like walking around the courtyard or something, so it does actually show them actively doing something versus just somebody on the cover. I prefer the screen one. Shoot me down in flames, but I'm picking the screen one for this. Next up we've got The Book Thief by Markus Zusak, and this is another one where I have the screen tie-in. This was made into a movie which I have still yet to see. This is the cover that I have, and this is the original cover. And again, I think they've done quite well with the movie cover. So it is, you know, somebody just stood there at the front, and it does just kind of look like an American book cover, in that it does have a person just kind of stood at the front, but there is a lot going on behind. You can see the old European style buildings in the background for Germany, you can see the fire that is, I'm assuming that is from the burning of the books that did happen at this time, and you do see Liesl stood there holding a book. It works. I do think it works, which I know, again, is an unpopular opinion, but I do think that this is a decent screen adaptation. The book one, there are a few different ones. This one here is probably my least favourite. It's just kind of eh. I think it's the original one and I don't like it. So out of those two I would pick the screen one. But I will say there is also this one with Liesl and Death dancing on the cover, and I really like that one. That would be my pick. Next up, for one that really isn't in my wheelhouse but is interesting to look at all the same, is Orange is the New Black, which is written by Kerman. It is a memoir of this woman's time in prison in the US, and the actual cover is just some yellow, what do you guys call them, sand shoes? I don't know, but just some yellow plain pumps, like canvas pumps that we would use for like PE if they were black, and then the screen tie-in is interesting. That screen tie-in looks more like an actual movie poster, which is not so keen. I definitely prefer the real one for this. Even though it is a lot plainer and a lot more simple, it still demonstrates exactly what you need to know. This one is definitely a book choice rather than the TV tie-in choice. Next up we've got Good Omens, written by Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This is one that I'm desperate to read but I haven't been able to get around to yet, which is so annoying. I really like Pratchett, I really like Neil Gaiman, and the concept sounds right up my alley, so this should be something I love. The standard edition is quite simple. It's just got an angel, it appears, I don't know, it's Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, just an angel reading a book, and I do really like what they've done for the words Good Omens on the original cover. In terms of the adaptation, I love that they kept that. That was a really good choice by whoever designed the original cover, so I really like that they kept that. And I do think that for a movie tie-in, TV tie-in, for a screen tie-in, I do think this is quite good. It shows the theme very distinctly, shows the good and evil sat under like the same tree, and it's got an apple and a snake, so I'm assuming that is related to the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, sat on the world which they're controlling. So I do think that for a TV tie-in edition, this is done very well, and I think they should get kudos for that. But even though it's not my usual style, I do prefer the standard original one. Everything by Nicola Yoon is next up, and this one is interesting. So, of course, straight off, I'm choosing the book cover, but it's interesting how for the movie cover what they've done is they've used the two main actors from the film and clearly shown on the front what's actually happening. So if you just look at everything, it doesn't really explain what's going on, whereas you can see that the girl is kind of like trapped inside. As far as I can remember, this is a book about a girl who can't go out because of either an allergy to sunlight or just like something that's really prevalent, or possibly cancer. Basically she can't be exposed because her immune system would not handle it, and so it's them kind of having this relationship through the glass with her in a bubble. So I do think it's interesting how they've shown that, and how they've also still included the art from the original, but then we've got Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty, and there's actually two different covers for this one. So I know that I said at the beginning that sometimes there's going to be like a US versus a UK cover, but they're so different. So, TV tie-in cover here. Again, I think this is done reasonably well. They only have like this much of the three of the main actresses on the cover, which is like reasonable. You can just about tell who some of them are. I can tell who one of them is. I don't really watch screen stuff, so as someone who is a reader rather than a watcher, that isn't too bad for me because I don't really know who they are. And they keep the titles decently big and it's quite plain. So again, I think they've done a good job with this. The US version of the cover, I really like the smashed lolly. I don't know what you guys call it. I don't know what you guys call a lollipop in the US, but I love the smashed lolly. I think that that looks really beautiful with the very simplistic kind of typewriter-esque font. The UK edition is the one I have on my shelves. I haven't read this yet, and it's very different. Like, it's a moon over a sea. Why are these so different? I really don't know. Until I read the book, I don't know why they're so different. In terms of just aesthetically, I prefer the US one. I really like the kind of plain grey background with the bright pop of colour from the lollipop and the kind of typewriter-esque writing. We do have the typewriter kind of writing in the UK one, but it is more of just kind of like Times New Roman font. And the movie TV tie-in is fine. It does it better than some of the others, but I'm going with the US edition for this one. Then we've got The Fault in Our Stars. As far as I could tell in terms of UK versus US, we have the same cover, which is this bad boy, and the film version looks like that. The book. And then lastly we have Matilda. Now, Roald Dahl has so many different covers for all of his books, so this is just the one that I went with. It's a pretty standard one, a pretty common one, at least here in the UK. It's one that was around when I was younger. I think these covers were probably coming out in the 90s. So that's the cover I went with, versus the tie-in edition for the movie. Now, I will say straight up, I love the movie. I adore the movie. It's hilarious, it's brilliantly done, it's beautiful. But that cover ain't it. What's with the blue misty background? How does that have any relevance to anything versus the standard beautiful Quentin Blake illustrations that he does for every Roald Dahl book, with a very clear, like, she's definitively bookish, she's stood on book, she's holding a book, the kids in the background, whoa, they definitely like Matilda, and the trench ball leaning across the title card. Whereas the movie tie-in edition is just, here's all the people in the movie, and some blue clouds. What is going on? Why? So the book, definitely for this one. Those are all the different book covers that I'm looking at today. Surprisingly, there were some tie-ins that I liked. I think the Handmaid's Tale, I just haven't found a cover that I actually like for it yet. What is this? What is this? Those are the covers. I need a nap. Those are the book covers. Let me know down below. As always, I will have the list of the different books, and let me know whether you prefer the movie or the original. in the comments down below, and tell me why as well, because I didn't ask you to tell me why last time, and I keep looking at the comments and getting annoyed. I'm like, but why? I just want to know why. Like, all opinions are valid, but just like, explain, because I'm curious. I'm nosy. I'm nosy. A bit like that neighbour that has been watching me film. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!